Hi, this is Akash. I'm studying graduate diploma in IT from NMIT. Today we are going to study the NetApp environment, as this is the first lab which has a different exercise. So the first exercise will give you the brief introduction how to use the NetApp environment and the system command NetApp on command system manager and the PuTTY software. So first you open the PuTTY software and log in into the cluster 1 management session. Now the user ID will be admin and the password will be NetApp123 and will be capital. So from here you can see the number of the cluster created. So for that, cluster show. So you can see here there are 2 clusters already created in this ONTAP manager. So now you can also synchronize the date and time from this command line. So for that, type the time zone. So you can see the current time zone, that is US/Pacific. Also type the date, so you can see the current date and time. Now there are a few licenses which we required to perform the further exercise. So for that we can check the licenses. So license show, it will show you all the registered license in this ONTAP data manager. Now open the server manager to add the host records. So go into the DNS window. Now expand the host. Here the forward lookup zone, then go into the learn.netapp local. Now select this learn.netapp.local and then go into the action and new host. So from here you can add the host record. So the first host record will be like we are going to add the cluster 1 and their IP address will be 192.168.0.101 and add host. Again we are going to add the second host record, that is the CentOS 64, and the IP address will be 192.168.0.10 and click on the add host. So after adding, just click on the done and you can see that we have added the 2 host records which you can see it here. Now after adding the host records, you can just double check it by pinging those hosts. Now ping first host, that is cluster 1. So you can see that it's pinging successfully. Now the other host is like ping CentOS 64. So this is the first exercise in which you can just synchronize the date and time. You can check the cluster number of the clusters, and also you can know how to add the host records in the server manager. As we seen the first exercise, that how to use the PuTTY software. So again we are open the PuTTY software. Again log into the cluster 1 management session, the same credential. Now in the second exercise we will see the how to work with the data ONTAP administrative interfaces, and also we will see the basic commands to manage the data ONTAP cluster and we will add the 2 node into the cluster using the system manager. So first, if you want to know the version of the data ONTAP operating system, just type the version. So it will show you the NetApp release 8.2 cluster mode and the time and date. Then in the command line interface, if you want to take any help from any commands, just type the question mark and press enter, so you will have an entire list of the command. Also, now you can quit from this one using just type Q button. Now for example, we have a cluster command, and if we want a help for the sub commands, just type question mark. It will show you all the commands related to the main command, that is cluster. Here it is contact info, create, date, everything. Now we will go into the system manager to add the 2 nodes to the cluster. So just minimize the PuTTY software, and here is the NetApp on command system manager. So open the system manager. So initially we have to add the cluster by clicking on the add button. So we have to type the host name, that is cluster 1, and expand this more option and click on the credentials and type the username as a admin and password will be NetApp123. Now click on the add button, so it will add the cluster into the system manager. Now select that cluster 1 and log in using the same credentials. So it will show you the default window like this. It will show you the cluster 1 as a name of the cluster. Then in the left hand side, it will show you the 3 different sections, that is cluster, vServers and nodes. So you can just expand the different section and you will find the different options like storage, configuration, high availability, diagnostics. Then in vServers we have a cluster 1. Then in nodes we have a cluster. Then we have a different 2 cluster. Each cluster has their own different options like storage, configuration. So now under the main cluster section, just go into the storage and click on the aggregates. So you will find the 2 aggregates which already created for you, and if you click on the disks, so you will find a many disk which is associated with the different aggregates. So now click on the vServers and click on the cluster 1. As there is a no vServers, that is no storage virtual machine, so currently there is a no storage virtual machine, so it will not show you the options. And in nodes you can see the storage, that is aggregates, disk. Also you can go into the configuration to see the ports and adapters. Here you can see there are 6 adapters, and also from here you can see the FC adapters. Now again go back to the first tab and refresh the button. So the status will change to the no MP response. So now we will set up the SNMP response. So for that, first expand the cluster, then go into the configuration menu, go to the system tools, there you will find a SNMP. So click on the edit button. So from here just click on add and write it as a public and OK, and click OK. So you will find a community name as a public, and again go here and just refresh it. So this will be the third exercise. In this exercise we will see that how to manage the basic hardware and their physical components using the command line interface and on command system manager. So first open the on command system manager and log in into the existing cluster. So username will be the admin and password will be the NetApp123. Now expand the nodes section and go into the cluster 101 and go into the storage. So you will find the aggregates and disk. So here in aggregates you will find a one aggregate already created. Just click on the aggregate. Also click on the disk menu and select any disk. So you will find a different properties in the below section, that is aggregate. So this disk is just associated with this aggregate. Then what will be the vendor ID, then zeroing, then their serial number and their broken details. Now as we discussed in the previous exercise that you can see the adapters too. So just go into the configuration and click on the ports and adapters. So here you will find all the Ethernet ports that are associated with the cluster 1, and from here you can find all the adapters which are associated with the cluster 1, and also you can find their general properties and Ethernet port properties in the below section. Now minimize the system manager and again open the PuTTY software and log in into the cluster 1 management session. The username will be admin and the password will be NetApp123. Okay, so again to see the number of clusters, just write the clusters. So you will see the 2 clusters created for you. Then you can see the identity of that cluster using this command, that is cluster identity show. So you can see the cluster UUID, then cluster name, their serial number and their location and contact. Also you can see the number of disks that are already created in the system manager, and you can see it from the command line interface by writing the command like disk show. So here you can see all the disks listed here, and to quit from this disk command just type the Q, so you will be exit from the disk command. Now if you want to need any help regarding the storage command, then write the command, then press question mark. So it will give you all the sub commands that are associated with the storage command. And if you write the storage command and press the enter, so the cursor will focus onto the storage command. Now to exit from the storage cursor, just press dot button 2 times and press enter, so it will again focus onto the cluster 1 command. Now to see the network interfaces, write the command like network interfaces and show. So it will give you all the interfaces associated with the cluster, main cluster. So here you can see there are two vServers, that is cluster 101 and 02, and what are the different network masks, what are the different current node and current ports. So you can see each and everything that are associated with the different server. So yeah, this is the third exercise in which you can just see how to manage the different physical components using the command line interface and the system manager. So now we will see how to create the aggregates and using the system manager and command line interface, and how we will manage those aggregates. Also we will see how to initialize the disk at the end of this exercise. So first go to the system manager and log into the existing cluster using the same previous credentials. Now go into the cluster section and just click on the storage and click on the aggregates. So here you will find two aggregates created for you. Now we will create another aggregate. So click on the create. So you will find a create aggregate wizard. So now click on next. Give the aggregate name as AGGR1 and RAID type will be RAID-TP, and click on the next button. And from here you have to select the disk. So just click on the select disk, and we will select a disk that has a node cluster 101, and their effective disk type will be FECAL, and the disk count will be the 24. But here you can change the number of capacity disk to use, so we will change it to 16 and save and close. And create. So here you will find a aggregate 1 that we have created. Now we will create a aggregate using the PuTTY, that is the command line interface. So log into the PuTTY session using the same credentials. Now first we will type the command to see the help in this different commands. So storage, aggregate, and then create. And now if you press the question mark, so it will give you all the sub commands related to this. So here are those commands with which you can create the aggregates. So now first we will see the aggregates created here, so just write the command like storage aggregate and show, so it will show you all the aggregates created in the cluster. Now we will create another aggregate using following commands. So storage aggregate, then create dash aggregate. You can just write the few letters and then press the tab button, so it will come automatically. This will be the name of the new aggregate. Two nodes cluster 1-02, then disk type FCAL, disk count will be 16, and the last will be RAID type is RAID underscore DB. So this will create a second aggregate. You can check whether this aggregate created or not using the command like storage aggregate show. So here you can see the other aggregate is created. Now we will see how to delete the aggregate. So for that, first we will create one test aggregate. So again, creating one test aggregate using the same command. So here we created the test aggregate. Now to delete the aggregate, first we need to offline that aggregate. So using this command we can offline the aggregate. So the command will be storage aggregate offline dash aggregate and the name of the aggregate. So this will first offline all the services related to that aggregate, and now we will delete that aggregate. So storage aggregate delete aggregate and the name of that aggregate. So it will ask you for the confirmation that are you sure you want to delete the aggregate. So just type the yes button and yeah. So the test aggregate will be deleted, and you can see using the storage aggregate show. So yeah, from here it is deleted.